Beachside living, great for humans, bad for buildings. What to watch out for when you're buying. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Morning.
So, good morning, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Really good, really good. This is a spicy topic.
Yeah, a little bit spicy, but also very relevant considering we live and work right next to the beach.
A lot of people aspire to it, but do they know the highs and the lows of being up close and personal with the beach?
Yeah. I think the reason everyone wants to move to the beach is like one of the things to talk about first. It's a passion decision usually. And a lot of the time when people buy near the beach, they're buying, not all the time, but some of the time, they're buying from out of area and they go this place on holiday and they go, wow, I love this. I'd love to have a house here right near the water.
Yeah, it's what is it like? I think it's where the sun rises. It's the first place the sun rises, I guess, which is exciting.
Yeah.
The ocean is just beautiful. It's forever. It's natural. Why are people so attracted to it? I guess it's the water, it's the sand, it's where the sun rises. What else?
I think usually as well, there's often kind of like holiday charm or something going on around the beach. If you think about even the Gold Coast, there's lots of hustle and bustle around, Manly, hustle and bustle around. There's usually people and things going on in little shops and cafes. It's the lifestyle being near the beach, not just the water itself.
And I guess we forget when you're sort of on the beach or close to the beach, we forget that the majority of the world don't live on the beach. There are people that I meet that have never been to a beach, and it's the first time. So we're probably a little bit spoiled. It is a little bit cool. It is a little bit exotic, but it's also a little bit dangerous, a little bit aggressive on buildings and costly.
Yes, for sure. Which I think is kind of, so those two things combined, a lot of people wanting to move there and the costly element adds a premium if you're buying property next to the water. The closer you are to the water, generally, the more expensive it gets.
I wonder if you live for longer if you live on the water.
I think there's something to that because you're more calm. The less stress your brain has, the longer you live.
You got a bit more zen going on.
Yeah, I think so.
So when it comes to real estate, the obvious one is it's going to cost you more because you're going to have to pay a little bit more for the real estate. But what a lot of people don't realise is there's definite added costs per year, for the benefit. Can we go through those?
Yeah, I think even there's major defects that can happen from being close to the water. But I think one of the ones that often gets overlooked that is one of the most pertinent is salt. It just gets in everything and destroys everything. For something as simple as a sliding door, if you have a sliding door facing the water, it would rust. You're going to have to change that sliding door so many times. So simple maintenance just to keep, salt and rust.
Cars. You know what? The cars, I think, slow down a bit. I remember cutting out the rust spots in my car regularly when I went to war, and family doing that. But I think they dip them all in like aluminum or something these days, so you don't tend to get the rust with the cars. But it was a huge cost.
Huge cost. And it adds up when it's all different parts of the property that are all getting rusted that you're going to have to replace and change, and it keeps adding on top of each other.
And then you're forced to buy products which won't rust, which cost, like for a barbecue, when you're buying stainless steel, there's different grades of stainless steel.
Yeah.
I think 304 or whatever there is, and there's marine grade. You can Google a chart for stainless steel grades, because I'm a geek, I do that. And there's stainless steel that they use on ships and on cruise ships. that just will not rust. And there's stainless steel that looks like rubbish after 1 year that you just can't polish out after it's gone bad. So you're actually forced, when you're buying these goods close to water, and I reckon, Jess, you can say up to a kilometre.
Yeah, for sure.
A kilometre from the ocean, you're forced to put in more premium lighting, more premium fitting off the back of watch out for corrosion, make sure it's good steel, make sure it's well insulated.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other things, this is a more major event that often is less people, I think, so I'm going to talk about natural disaster and how you're more prone to different weather events. I think generally across the board, you always think, oh, it won't happen, it's fine. And then it happens and it costs you a lot of money. So if, for example, being near the water, you're prone to big surf, if the water comes in too high, rising sea levels, higher winds, which all can damage your property.
Yeah, and just good old-fashioned flood we've had sort of 5 months ago.
Yeah. Well, even with the office, so we're less than a kilometre from the beach, about maybe. And remember with so the office is about 1 metre above ground, so it's lifted up a little bit. And you were telling me when it was built, you went, oh, it doesn't flood here, and then it flooded here.
Yeah, and I thought it was just a massive overkill on behalf of council. It's completely unnecessary to insist a developer does that. So if you're driving, it's something for people to watch out for. If you're driving in an area and you know a little bit about flooding, look at some places are on grade, they're dipping with the street, and have a look at some places like cafes, restaurants, there's sometimes up to 1 metre off the road. That's insisted in flood areas, and they insisted that in DY, and I thought that's just dumb. Yeah, like you said, it happened. So that again, you thought it had cost the developer, it had cost to the purchaser, but in the long run, it saved a lot of money because flooding office out is fun.
It can also add higher insurance premiums as well. So that's another ongoing cost that you might have to pay.
You may not be able to get insured.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a big one because if you add that up per year over a 10-year period, that sort of stuff adds up as well. It sounds like we're being really negative about coastal though.
I know. It's beautiful, and for the majority of the time, it's amazing. It's just that one event or that one little bit, and it just adds money. It's one of those things, I think, where it's money against lifestyle. Like, what is the cost to have that lifestyle, And
I do think you make more money with a more healthier spirit, lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. I do think it is more attractive. So yes, there's money going out in maintenance, there's money going out in insurance, you're paying more to be on the ocean, but I do think there's more money coming in because I think it's a pretty cool happy place to be. I think it lifts you.
There was actually something interesting. So I was doing some research on this before we spoke. And one of the things that came up a lot, which is another cost that I think sometimes is forgotten about too, could be potential rental loss, or if it's an investment and you're renting it out or Airbnb it or whatever. Because in some areas, even if you're near the beach, if it's a small town, the whole town in winter vanishes if it's one of those tourist areas. And people aren't going to want to rent out your property or won't want to stay there. So I think that's something also to be wary of buying near the beach is what area it's in. In DY, Northern Beaches, we're pretty okay because all year round people want to live near the beach. But if it's an area where maybe the weather changes completely or it's a small town, no one wants to go on holiday there in the winter, that could be another potential cost that you're not considering.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And you don't think of that because it doesn't happen to you. And I think that happened when there was a lot of flooding around regional Australia. People didn't realise these low-lying, beautiful areas were flood-prone. purchase, they move their families there. And often it's just out of season, arid countryside, and not really attractive. But you see it in its most attractive at best time. Purchase on the back of that.
Yeah.
The snow's an example of that, I guess, where sometimes you can be really attracted to the snow, the rest of the year it's not much.
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's important with that, whatever the purchase is, to make sure you're across what it's like, not just today. It's not just a passion purchase. It's a thought out. You understand how that purchase sits throughout 12 months.
Yeah. But look, honestly, how would you possibly calculate all these things we've spoken about? Because, okay, I want to live close to a beach on beach. How would you? You've got insurance guys to watch it. You've got, you've got a higher cost of replacement and stuff. How do you add all that up? Like, I know a client that was replacing his televisions regularly, and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, that's living on the beach. Like, I've just always replaced the electrical stuff because, we're on the beach. So otherwise, I don't open the doors. I might tell he's fine. Imagine all the stuff going on. You buy a torch, it's rusted out. Anything, whatever you're buying, you're regularly buying that. How do you possibly add those costs?
I think it's a cost benefit thing. Like, depending what the purchase is for. So maybe if you're someone that's grown up along the beach, you love it, you could never imagine moving away, that's just a cost that you accept because your benefit of your quality of life is more important to you. But it depends. Some people would go, no, I cannot be bothered with that. I don't actually go swim that often. I don't like the beach. Can't be bothered with that cost. That sounds ridiculous. I think it's more of a personal choice. And then you weigh that, how much you value that property and that location against the actual cost you'll have to pay. Yeah.
And then there's, I guess, how dramatic it is, because sometimes the more dramatic you can go for a softer version. And you see properties that are on the cliff. Your cliff top's quite dramatic, and your house getting pounded. But then you get clients that are maybe one or two steps back, just a bit more gentle. It's interesting. I reckon there's nothing beautiful like a beach hut.
I know. I agree. There's definitely a reason people still choose to do it.
Interesting. You know what? I wonder what the number is, guys. I wonder what the number is for what it's going to cost extra. But again, like you said, people stay there, so I want you live better.
For sure. All right, I think that's everything.
I think that's a wrap. Have a great day. Tonight, we've got the Mega Investor running, which is in our office with 4 incredible speakers at 6 o'clock. So stay tuned, because we are going to be live streaming to people who have requested. So check that out. It's best accountant in town, best solicitor in town, best mortgage broker in town, talking about the future of real estate and some really good tips and tips. It's called the Novak Mega Investor Night. Anything you want to add to that, Jess?
Oh, it'll be a great night. There's about an hour of talking. You can ask questions. Generally, to get this kind of advice is expensive, so it's a great time to get some free advice, chat to everyone, get to know people. It's a good opportunity.
Stay tuned and let us know by message. We'll send you the link for the Mega Investor. It is a booked out event. You can be shortlisted if you want to click by. Otherwise, we'll send you along.
Perfect.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.
I was just having a look. I thought I wrote great for hummus.
I'm still live. How are you, Hummus?
Oh,